Modern JavaScript, that is ECMAScript 6, Part 3, we will be talking about few additional features, including bit of arrow function, how it handles this keyword inside arrow function. So let's take an example of an arrow function with um, with this keyword. So if I go ahead and write an arrow function, and let's say I put a const employee equals to, and then I created just to create a function called say hello, and that function would have nothing but a console.log, which will say hello. Okay, and instead of hello, we can say this, and I just pass this keyword. Okay, if I call this function outside of my definition, say hello, and run it, I just say en node ES6. It's gonna go ahead and show me the whole object. It says that there's a method called say hello, this is a function, and it has something in it. That's fine. Now what happens if I replace this with something like set timeout? Okay, so if I say set timeout, and then you know that it takes first parameter as function, okay, and then let's assume that I don't have anything, and then it ends here with the function body, okay, we end it, and then the second parameter is the duration post which this function will be called. So I basically have let's say two parameters. One is my function, and then second is the thing I need to do. So let's put something over here. So if I, instead of that, if I, let's say, put it inside, and I remove this function, say hello, and let's assume that I kind of let's do one thing. Let's say hello, and then I put this delete and put it over. Okay. So what I basically I'm trying to do, let me modify it so that it's clearly understandable. So I have this set timeout, which takes this console.log and dumps out this keyword. Now if I execute this code, just like I was doing earlier, it's gonna go ahead and give me a this object, right? Um, with a timeout error. Sometimes it can give me a window object. Um, so it is not the object which I was getting earlier. So this is what I need as an output. One of the things I can do is that I can define a const as self, and then assign the keyword this over there, and in that function instead of this I say self. Okay, something like this I can do, which will nothing but enable me to pass on something. So I can say let instead of com. So I'll say let this, let me put it inside the function. Okay, so and then I call the self, and if I try to run this, it's gonna go ahead and give me this. So this is probably the right thing I'm getting. This is the right thing I'm getting. Now, if I, let's say, replace this function with arrow function, assume that I don't have any, and I don't have in fact any parameter, and I just can run this, and then if I put this back again instead of self, let me hide this so that we know that it's not working. you can see that it is still giving me that output. Now, the arrow function is really handles the keyword this in a much more efficient way. I don't need to store that object beforehand. I can go within and set timeout kind of call, and then I can have my arrow function. And if I use this keyword, it basically holds the value of this, oh, that is employee, right? So you can see that using arrow function, this becomes much easier to implement, right? So this is something which is an interesting observation. So to say how this arrow function can help you achieve some of the things you may want to achieve quite efficient. Now, one of the things I wanted to also quickly touch on is array.map. Now, array.map, you can think of it replaces the for each loop. So when you have an array and you have to iterate through each and every element of an array, do something, either read it or modify and put it in a new array, you typically use for each loop. Now we can do that, but using the array map, we can achieve these things quite effectively. So for example, I get an array of numbers. If I say const nums, okay, and then or I say emps employees, and then I have an array of values like this, and then all this, okay, and I have this arrow, and I can have one more arrow out of this arrow saying say hello. This is a new arrow, but this new array will be produced from this existing array and by using a map. So map will help me iterate for each and every element. So I can have an arrow function, and I can say that if the variable name is, a parameter name is emp, which essentially will be each and every employee. And I can say hello employee, and I can use one of the new features in ES6, that is literal. So I can say hello template literal. So template property allows me to pass this and then this, and after that I can pass. So instead of me using single quote or double quote, I use tilde, which is next to the one in the keyboard. So you will be able to actually use this backtick and then build up your um, arrow function. So this is my arrow function, and as you all know that I don't need, if I don't have only one, and then I can say console.log, or I can just simply let it be like that, and console.log it here with say hello, dump everything, okay, and that should be fine. Okay, so what happens now, it will pick up each and every element of my array and then say hello number one, hello number two, hello number three. So let's see the output. If I run this thing, and you can see that it is showing me the list of values. So they're all clearly visible in the screen. Let me run it again, and then you see that three of the items are showing up in the list, right? So you can imagine that you have got this values coming up into your screen, and then you have them all available in front of you with the modified one. Now, it doesn't really modify the existing array, but you can have a new array with a modified value. Because we are using const, we don't let you modify. All right, so if you have to add it, so create another const and then have it and then show them all in over here. So if you have number and you want to do some mathematical calculation to those number, let's say increase by 100, so you can do that and then build up a new array. It's quite efficient in that sense. So thank you very much, and we'll see more in our next upcoming demo.